Aloha. In this video, I wanted to go into the relationship between dreams and the physical reality or the waking reality, and the relationship of your conscious reality to your subconscious reality or your subconscious dream space, and how power relates to how power fits in there. Power being as general as possible from the however you want to see it, from whatever perspective it is. Power is going to be, the power of being healthy, the power of engaging in your reality. For dreamers, you see the power of being able to create within your own dream, and how all of this relates to what heliocentrism does to the power of the individual and the power of the collective when they buy into an illusion that is not what is natural. And in fact, it's become normal to lock yourself into a synthetic reality, into a synthetic universe. So I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and we were going in on dreams, and I was just explaining to him like how I've learned from the dream world, how I get inspiration from the dream world, and how I've been dreaming, like remembering my dreams since I was a child, since I was like 3, 4, 5 years old. 5 years old is when I started to cross-reference those dreams with other people, other kids. Like when I was 3 and 4, I would, share what was going on with my mom. If I would wake up from a nightmare or if I was flying, I had reoccurring flying dreams when I was a kid. I had reoccurring dreams where I would fall off of a building. I would just appear on a building, and then sometimes I would wake up in the middle of falling off of a building. And as I grew up or got more comfortable with the dream, I could trace the dream all the way back to the beginnings or before I would get locked into falling off a building. Reoccurring themes like hotel elevators, hotel lobbies, school is another one, parties is another one, like big parties full with people, like really nice houses or a nice venue and everybody dressed in really nice clothes. These are just themes that have I have also reoccurring military dreams, or me being in the military, being back in the military. So there's these themes that go on, and one of the questions he asked was like, do you have like an ability to change the dream, or is it more locked in? And that's when I was explaining it's like both, because some dreams are that, from my experience, that when you're in a dream, you have like a mission, you have something to do, there's something that you have to be engaging in, and if you were to ignore that, you can't even really. It's kind of like having a responsibility in your day, like being at work. Like there's a job that you have to do, and if you were to do something else, it would just kind of be absurd. You wouldn't even go into that. So there are those dreams, and then there are other dreams where you become so lucid you don't really have any responsibilities, kind of like a day off, and you can go here, you can go there, you can talk to this person, you can fly, you can do all kinds of things. So it's a broad spectrum between being able to execute something like a free will in your dream, and then having a responsibility, like the utmost responsibility. You have to do this. You're stuck here, whatever it is. So there's those parts. Keep in mind, like when I relate this to power, like even going into your dreams, remembering your dreams, reconnecting with your dreams, that's an inherent power. Like, that's your subconscious reality is, from how I see it, is a lot of who you are, even in your conscious reality. So in many cases, it's more of who you are in that space, because you're not really subjected to the linear ideas of yourself that get caught up in the conscious reality. So even in that relationship between the conscious and the subconscious is an inherent power. Remembering your dreams is an inherent power. Losing your dreams is a way, or not remembering your dreams is a way of locking you into the conscious reality. Not only locking you into the conscious reality, but twice the double-edged sword of that is to lock you out of the subconscious learning experience or healing experience, because there's a lot of learning you can do. There's a lot of healing that you can do. There's a lot of questions that could be answered. This is why a lot of the ancestors went into the dream space, or they used psychedelics like ayahuasca as a medicine. It's a medicine because they realize that we are more than just the body. We are the soul, then the mind, then the body. So anything that is going on with the body can be traced with understanding what's going on in the mind, and even further than that, what's going on with the soul. So each one is a reflection of the other, going from the soul to the mind to the body. So all of those concepts, you can see the dreams as being like a bridge between those experiences, or the bridge between those vibrations of who and what you are. And when you go into that space, you have the ability to heal or learn from each and every version of yourself. And one thing that I was really explaining in reference to, like, what happens when we are locked into the heliocentric model, is that it's kind of like what happens to a child when they're locked into kindergarten and first grade. You, in reference to your dreams, like, this is a reoccurring thing, or a known thing, that around 5, 6, 7 years old is when you start not remembering your dreams. And at that time, now this is not a universal thing, but it's a lot of people have said, even when I was a kid, I remember this. There was older kids that would tell me, because they would come and listen to us tell each other our dreams. We had a little crew in like kindergarten and first grade where we would tell each other our dreams, because we were flying, and nobody in school, we thought we were going to be talking about this stuff and learning stuff like this. But when you get into school, there's no talk about dreams. There's nothing. They even tell you, don't be a dreamer, don't daydream, stop daydreaming. You know, that whole mentality, that's a power. And it's like breaking a stallion or something like that. It's like breaking the human stallion. You have no willpower anymore, subconscious willpower, to challenge your reality or go into any kind of critical thought beyond the physical linear reality. So what heliocentrism does is it locks in your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, your colors, your alpha, like everything it locks it into. It says everything in the universe is already complete. It's already known. Your dreams don't matter. Your universe has been interpreted by the people who have gone through the same process that you're going through right now. You're in kindergarten. You have 12 more years to go to be smart enough in that world. So it's literally locking you in to a synthetic universe, a synthetic world that, in my eyes, as important as I see dreams, is designed really to separate you from your dreams. So dreams being another example of being able to critically think, or being able to manifest some inherent power out of seeming nothingness. So you can have an inspiration. Look how many people get inspiration from music in dreams. I think it was like Beethoven or Mozart or whoever it was, there was something about, or the even, I think it was something like maybe the inventor of the piano or something like that got the inspiration in like a dream. But all of this inspiration comes in dreams, and what that does to the individual is it really disempowers them when they're locked into that lack of connection. And how I've also explained it is the patriarchal linear system is largely so-called successful because of the demonization of the feminine energy. So the non-physical feminine energy could be related to the subconscious dream realm. And if you were to go into your dreams, you would start to reconnect to a part of your observable reality that is a direct link to the feminine balance, or in the whole like yin yang balances of yourself, of your soul. And once you activate that, it counteracts or starts to heal the imbalances of being locked into a one-sided linear reality. And it also simultaneously empowers you by activating your feminine balances, or the positive and the negative, the light and the dark, the hot and the cold. All of these are crucial to any kind of soul experience. If you're out of balance, you're not going to be able to move the way you would like to move. You're not going to be able to go into the direction you would like to go. And if you are locked into a space that has been out of balance for so long, you won't even have a direction, because you'll just be constantly going in circles trying to clean up the mess that is living a life of being out of balance. So this is known, and this is inherent in locking somebody into the heliocentric universe, or locking a mass of people into a heliocentric universe. No different than locking somebody into the social constructs of conformity and complacency and apathy within the school system, within the university system, within the American dream 9-to-5 system. This is all about locking you away from your power to not only empower yourself, but to challenge the system of authority, to challenge the system of so-called power. And this is why I harp on so much the importance of reconnecting with your dreams, not only to balance yourself out, but to really get into that empowering space of facing your fears. This is another thing. This is the main thing that happens in children's lives, where you have kids who are constantly having nightmares, because kids have nightmares because, one, they're the most vulnerable creatures in the world, being that they have to be completely dependent on their parents. So their anchor in this reality is vulnerable. And on the same token, when you're that vulnerable and you haven't really locked into your own power, that vulnerability opens you up. So it opens you up to lower sort of experiences. So you can be subjected to, it's kind of like being scared. Like you can be scared by, I don't know, like anything, like what is it? A toy or something, or a movie. A movie can scare you. So in that moment, just imagine like being scared. And then when you grow up, you're not really scared anymore, because you are aware of the reality. You're aware of yourself. And if have been working on yourself for any kind of whatever, then you also have empowered yourself. So you pretty much, like, you can't be messed with. So the children haven't done this yet, and they need to they need to know what's out there that is of the good. So you can have the good of a flying dream all the way to the negative of the most evil whatever, chasing you somewhere, and then you have to wake up. So what that does is, like, when you have a flying dream, it like empowers you, because now you can manipulate the equations that are within that world itself, and you're flying. You're in that dream. You're doing things that can't really be done in your waking space. In your nightmare kind of reality, you're not only having the chance to face your fears, face your demons, because that's part of it, but you're also having the opportunity to, you're faced with the opportunity to understand what evil is, what that whole feeling is inside of you. So if you do not dream anymore, then you won't have access to, or you don't remember your dreams, because we're always dreaming. But if you don't remember your dreams, this is why you have the ability to remember your dreams, because you can take little bits and pieces back to your conscious reality and learn from them. This is what the ancestors were doing. But you can do it yourself, as long as you make a relationship with that space. This is why people write them down, but not many people like piece it together, because they think it's just like, oh, this is just whatever. I've had dreams, connect with dreams days and days ago. I've woken up just a couple of days ago 3 times and been back in the same dream, like in the same experience with the same individual, and just like the entire dream just rebooted 3 times. That's never happened before to me. It's happened twice, to where I'd wake up twice and I go back to the dream, but never 3 times, waking up 3 times and going back to the dream. But these are just examples of being separated from yourself. Like, if you lose a part of yourself, you're losing a part of your maximum potential. You're losing a part of your ability to heal, ability to communicate, ability to perceive, to think critically, to everything. It's like a shock wave. It really is kind of like a shock wave. It affects every part of your reality. And one of the earliest videos that I ever did was explaining like the importance of dreams, the importance of having that connection, and how it relates to the conscious reality. But back to what I was saying, the evil itself, when you don't know what evil is, when you haven't experienced that fear, when you haven't experienced any kind of event, or any kind of entity, speaking from like a dream kind of perspective, if you haven't experienced that in a dream enough to be able to bring it back to the conscious reality, you're not gonna know what evil actually is. You're not gonna know what those mechanisms are and how they affect you in the conscious reality. So if you shut something down, it's kind of like the same thing like your power, your ability to work your dreams to be able to fly. Like when you become completely lucid, or you can do all kinds of like superhero shit in your dreams. That's the positive side. The negative side, which is not bad, the negative side is that it's a part of an experience that allows you to understand, and overstand what the counterbalance to that is, to be completely vulnerable, to be completely in a space where you are being locked down by your illusions, basically, because when you're out of yourself, you're subjected to your surroundings, whether that be an individual or whether that be a world itself. So in a world manipulation, you can be constantly being attacked or chased or in a nightmare, whatever it is. This is all challenging you to expand your self to envelop the world itself. This is kind of like a it's a good segue into the lucid part of your dreams and being able to know what, like, focus your energy. I was explaining to a friend of mine just the other day how you fly. Like, there's different ways people fly, and I explained it in two different ways. Like, I went through explaining it energetically first, and then the friend I was talking to was saying, "Oh yeah, well, I doggy paddle. Well, I do the same thing. It's kind of like doggy paddling, but energetically." What I started off explaining was the focus of your energy is in your solar plexus. It's in your stomach. It's kind of like what butterflies feel like. Just imagine what butterflies would feel like if you concentrated it into one point, and that point was in the center of your solar plexus. Now shrink everything that is your body and all of your bodies into one focused center that is a dot inside your solar plexus. It's kind of like the feeling of clenching your abs, like squeezing your abs, and then, but if your entire body were like your abs. So this is kind of like what happens, how I'm just explaining how I dream, and how when I'm lucid and I want to fly, that's where all the energy is focused. And if I'm falling while I'm flying, this is another way that I realize that it happens. When I'm doggy paddling and I start to lose my focus, the dream starts to become unstable, then I squeeze like my abs, and that will allow me to go back up, like fly higher, or not fall anymore when I'm flying. And what that does is it not only like centers the energy and the focus, but it just gives me more. I don't know how to explain it, but some people who are dreamers, they know what I'm talking about. Only way I can really explain it is it kind of like it centralizes your energy into a balance beam of, or a pivot point, a balance point that you've now shrunk all of your soul, your body, your awareness into that one little dot, and that little dot is now all of you. That little dot is so small and so potent and so powerful that it literally becomes the world around you. So that's where you become light and you can float. That's the best way I can explain it, because that's how I experience it in dreams. Never really kind of put it to words, but that's really what it is. Because when you're in a dream, kind of like in a physical reality, you think you're the body. But in a dream, your thoughts are really what kind of control the whole dream. You're subjected to your own subconscious infinity that goes all over the place, and you're trying to take a linear process into a non-linear world. And this is a good segue into like the stability of dreams and how it relates to the instability of individuals in the collective when they're locked into a synthetic universe like the heliocentric universe, or the universe of control and authority, power over you, and just mind control, manipulation. But the conscious, when you're in a dream, if you're lucid in a dream and you have the ability to do whatever it is that you want, what makes you more lucid in that dream, from my experience, is what your ability to not be thrown off kilter, to your ability to not be unstable in a non-stable world. So if you're cool, calm, collective in your real life, you can't really be swayed. You can't really be messed with. Like, you're constantly in a meditative space. Not to say that you're just floaty and just ungrounded, but to say that you're actually ultimately grounded, but the world itself is not controlling you. It's not manipulating you. So you're not really subjected. Another good example is not being subjected to other people's bullshit, like somebody's emotions or whatever it is, or they try to project something onto you, and then you're just kind of like, do whatever it is you're talking about, man. Just don't put your damn hands on me, then something's gonna happen. And it's the same sort of thing. It's like, don't put your emotions on me, don't put your this on me, don't put your that on me, because then you don't, when it's like non-physical like that, it's still it's still abusive. But what happens is that the more you expand yourself, first of all, you don't get presented by a lot of people by that anymore, because they just kind of steer away from you in the first place. But if they were, it wouldn't last too long, because you're not feeding into their world. So this is what happens in the dreams. If you feed into somebody else's illusions, then you become unstable. You become out of balance, because you have now invested your focused, your conscious reality and your subconscious reality in somebody else's illusions. And this is what happens with the heliocentric universe. This is what happens with the authority, the control, the racism agenda, like people trying to, straightening their hair, hating themselves, hating their skin, hating this, hating that, everything that's natural to them, hating it because it's not a part of what is hip, what is cool, what is trendy, what is normal in this broken society. So people are breaking themselves to be normal, breaking their natural selves to be normal, because normal is the status quo and natural is taboo. So this is why it's so difficult for people to even entertain flat earth, because the status quo of the mainstream world is a broken interpretation of their universe. This is why people, they will defend the globe model to the umpteenth degree, yet they don't know the details, the specifics of the universe itself. And ultimately, they don't give a shit. They don't care. Why? Because they have given their mind power away to the authoritative universe, the out of balance, broken, patriarchal system that goes all the way back to you being broken back from kindergarten and first grade and second grade, and having all those years of indoctrination into a world that has no concern, ultimately zero concern, with your soul and your mind. And then even more so, to confirmation of that, Bill Nye literally saying there is no soul. And he's the science guy. Like, he's up there. When you think of Bill Nye, you think of like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like they're like one and the same. So they represent the brain power of this synthetic universe. So if the brain power representatives tell you you don't have a soul, and they're obviously smarter than you because they're on Fox News and CNN, MSNBC, Bill Maher, late night talk shows. They have their own TV shows. They're on Netflix. They have all of this stuff. That is your critical thought. The money, the fame, the success that is, married with so-called intellect and coming from the university system and speaking with people like Barack Obama and, whatever else they use to build that up. And then even speaking on information like documentaries like Planet Earth or Neil deGrasse Tyson's The Cosmos. And then like Carl Sagan is the same thing. Everything that Carl Sagan represented back when he was talking about the world and the universe was your critical thought. You didn't have to think. You don't have to do anything. Why? Because there's smart people out there that do that. Only thing you got to do is take care of your kids, provide for your kids. The universe will take care of itself. The New Age is just another version of this. It's the same thing. It's kind of like, don't worry about it. Just love and light the shit out of your reality. And the whatever it is, the extraterrestrials will take care of it. The higher intelligent beings will take care of it. The universe will take care of it. It's all just what it's supposed to be. Everything is okay. Evil is not active in this world. It's just, all in your mind. You create your own universe. You create your own reality. So just be an awakened nihilist, basically. So intellectually, you're like intellectual nihilists when you have no ability to critically think. The so-called powers that be tell you what your universe is, and they will continue to tell you what your universe is for the rest of your life and for your future generations. And the way they hold that space is like with bully mentalities. It's kind of like, oh, come on. That's why Neil deGrasse Tyson went on that late night talk show and just was just like taking his shirt off. He's a manly man. He's eating a sandwich. He's the smartest manly man in the universe, eating a sandwich and takes his jacket off because he's gonna get busy and fight B.O.B. who's talking about the flat earth. All this shit, it's just a TV show. It's a big ass show. But since these grown ass children, basically these adults, they're still in high school. That's what high school politics are. It's prepping you to have your adolescent mind be carried on for the rest of your life. So you don't do anything because the class president is going to take care of that. The class treasurer is going to take care of whatever it is. They have that world set up for you. Same thing happens when you graduate. Whoever it is that's put out there, they do it for you. They take care of it. So you have these grown ass children who are out there looking at the big bad intellectual jock of Neil deGrasse Tyson, the smartest man in the known universe, pretty much just beat up your ability to question your reality outside of what they have deemed factual. Heliocentrism as a fact. The sun being 93 million miles away is a fact. Landing on the moon as a fact. The curve needing to only be the curve of the earth is proven when ships disappear from the bottom up over, as a fact. Never going into perspective. Gravity as a fact. Evolution theory as a fact. All of these theories that are out there are portrayed into your reality as facts. What that does is it's continually locking you into a dream, into a synthetic mind control stability program. So like I was saying in reference to the stability of holding a space in a lucid dream, your stability in the conscious realm is given to you by people who have said, we understand the universe and this is what makes it stable. The fiat currency system, the military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex. We need to put fluoride in your water. We need to put chemtrails in the sky. We need to put all the garbage into the oceans. We need to suck this black blood of the earth out of the earth and then put it in your cars because you have to go to work, right? You got to get money to pay for your kids to eat food, right? So just shut your mouth, put gas in your car, put oil in your car, get your car, be the American dream, and then go on about your business. That's it. If you do that, you're successful. If you question that reality, you're crazy. Something's wrong with you. They're basically telling you you're unstable because they have given you your stability. So in a dream space, how it relates to a dream space, how I've experienced dreams is that, or lucid dreams more specifically, when you're lucid in a dream, if the main mechanism that allows you to continue on holding on to the space of a dream is to have two focuses at once. One is the focus that you're lucid, but you're not putting anything on it. You're not putting any linear expectations on the dream. You're not questioning the dream. You're just there. You're totally as the dream. You're not You're just there. Subconsciously, the dream is so crazy, like it's all over the place. You can't bring conscious linear concepts into that non-linear perspective. So if something like a bear starts flying through the air, you can't be like, oh my God, bears don't fly. I must be in a dream. If you do that, you make the dream unstable, and then you start to wake up. This is no different than like demons or a devil or something chasing you in your dream. The difference between running from that demon and turning around and looking at that demon and either telepathically destroying that demon or literally facing that demon and ripping its throat out, like in the dream. Whatever it is that you've done in the dream to face that demon, the point is you can either run, which is making you emotionally unstable, or you can turn around and become the creator of that reality and face that dream. In this example, face that demon. Those are two different worlds, and that boils down to power. When you don't dream, you're not going to do that. When you don't dream, you're not going to be able to understand what evil is to be able to face your demons. So if you don't know what the demons are, you sure as hell ain't going to know how to face them, because you can't pinpoint them. You just think everything is just okay, everything is awesome. Or you've gone into that nihilistic space of, well, who cares? I'm just going to live my life, and, nothing really matters. So on with the show. I'm just, a floating piece of star shit that was shat out of the Big Bang, and who cares what my meaning and purpose is? It doesn't matter to me when I have to get food on the table. Does your meaning and purpose matter when you have to pay the bills, your electric bill, your phone bill? No, it doesn't. So just stop asking dumb questions. Like, that's how dumbed down people are. And that's largely anchored in the reality of tracing it all the way back to conformity from kindergarten, and even further than that, your relationship to the universe itself. If you don't have any desire to understand who and what you are on a deeper level, then you're not going to have any desire to expand that potential that you are, because you have no roots, you have no foundation. You're just there, and you don't even know what there is, because it doesn't matter. So you're nothing. You're just basic nothingness, and the world will create your reality for you. And as long as they have convinced you that they are the creators of your reality, they are the authority figures of your universe, they got you. They got you by the balls, and there's no way you're out. They got you by the spiritual balls, the psychological balls, and the physical balls. I mean, everything is locked down. You can't get out of it. And that's where the Stockholm syndrome kicks in, or the abusive responses kick in, to where you start to just become comfortable with the world of nothingness. And this is what I'm saying is the state of mind, the state of soul, and the state of being that the human experience, or this experience, is going through right now. When you don't understand that there are beings that will gladly profit from evil, they don't care. Just imagine, if you can have the best of the best, like angels, and you can have the worst of the worst, like a demon or something like that. The lightest of the lightest and the darkest of the darkest. And you're built up of those two extremes, and your choice, your apparent free will, is the ability to, grow within those two extremes, to not be consumed, get into the ego of, flying and being just the best flyer in the universe. And the opposite of that is, being so, like, in a relationship with that evil that you start to take pride. You start to fly in the evil world and not give a shit about anything or anybody else, or even your own well-being, or what your meaning and purpose is. So you start to create gaps in your reality and separate yourself more and more and more and more, to where if you've exposed yourself so much, you've Swiss cheesed your reality, you've Swiss cheesed your soul, your mind, and your body, to where there's no cheese anymore. There's just holes. There's emptiness. This is like what a demon could be seen as. Or just imagine like what prostitutes have to do. It's like empty. They're empty, dead eyes, dead soul, in a sense, to where like they're just trying to like provide for their kids or something like that, and they have to sell their bodies. They have to literally sell their entire beingness for that moment, over and over and over again, like women doing this over and over again. Now multiply that by the atmosphere of an entire culture built around that. So you can go into like the Dominican Republic, you can go into parts of Thailand, parts of Amsterdam, like the whole red light district, all this stuff. It's welcomed, it's fine, it's normal in society to have this red light district and not really question why the red light district, like the going into understanding why women would have to do that. If women didn't have to do that, would the red light district exist? Would a lot of this crime exist? Would a lot of, so this, you can make it as simple as the fiat currency system and so on and so forth, but it really is the entire concept of control and authority. It's not just the money. It's the power behind the money. Who created the world to make you believe that it's okay to do this, and who created the world to say that it's not okay to question this reality. It's not okay to try and do something about it. You're so powerless. You're so empty. You're so dead that this is it. You have kids going through the school system in these communities or these cities or entire nations that prostitution is like the biggest money maker for them. Like they don't have any jobs. There's no jobs there. Their jobs are tourism, where people from all over the world go to these locations specifically for the prostitution. They go there, and that's where the money is. So where the money is, people are going to go there. When women are going to go there, and then that's their jobs. So this is what's happening to the human experience overall. We've been prostituted, pimped out by the system itself, and we've been mind controlled like a pimp would mind control a hoe. It's like, oh yeah, I got you, baby. Like I provide you with the food, the dress, the clothes, like the, your home, your protection. I'm your security. I'm everything that you need. I keep you looking good. I keep you this. I keep you that. And nobody's gonna take care of you the way I take care of you. This is the psychological mechanism that is the Western civilization. It's like, baby, I got you. There's no way. There's no other way to be. Capitalism, democracy, this is the only way. The military industrial complex, the prison industrial complex, we protect you, baby. War is peace. This is it. There's nothing higher than this. In fact, we got God on our backs, baby. God, God bless America. We take care of you. We are the ones who, took out Saddam and underneath the false pretenses of weapons of mass destruction. We chased down the people who did 9/11. We buried Osama bin Laden in the ocean. We got our revenge. And all these are like false flags. They're illusions. They're telling you, they're building themselves up. Like the bigger the hat there is, like in the movie that I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, there's like, you can't come in here unless you got a big hat. And so all the people are looking around like, what the hell? We don't have any big hats. We got to get some big hats to go in there and look a certain way and be a part of the crew. So women, or the entire population looking at the big hat of the United States like, oh man, they really got it together. Look how big their hats are. They're smooth, they're this, they're that. It's about power. It's about locking you into a powerless perspective. It's a low budget version of what a demon would do in a nightmare. It forces you to run. It forces you to become vulnerable, emotionally unstable, and unstable in every way. And then they own you. So in that moment, this is what dreams are doing. It's like going into a dream and having the ability to take that information, back to your waking space is like going to the gym. If you're not going to the gym, your subconscious reality, your balances in reality will be severely out of shape. You will be weak-minded, weak-spirited, just like you would be weak physically. You need to constantly expand these muscles, these muscles, because these muscles are not. This is why there's so much focus on the muscles of the physical reality and like the over-sexualization of the body itself. It's kind of like if you focus so much on your body, who gives a shit about your mind? You got a nice ass and some nice titties and shit, man. I'm gonna marry you. Like I'm gonna get you the nicest ring in the world. Look at this, is my fiance. Like, oh my goodness, I got my own Beyonce here. Like she shaking her ass like this is, that's that whole mentality. But what happens there is, and people who have been married and divorced because they were following their dick brains or their vagina brains or whatever it was, they didn't really, or even in relationships, they get into a relationship because this person is physically attractive, and then they realize the emptiness in the relationship, which is just another opportunity to realize the emptiness that you yourself have, and locking yourself into that kind of relationship, having the ability to realize the emptiness that is there and what we're filling it with. So when you have people who are Swiss cheese to shit and they don't have any kind of stability to, or depth to their reality, then the fillers become the reality. So this is kind of like the extreme version of prostitution being the filler. Literally, they're filling their bodies with other people's emptiness to fill their babies with food, because the society is built this way. So that's kind of like one of the best examples of a sick society. And then you have, of course, the child trafficking, the women trafficking that's going on within the government itself. This is what all this Pizzagate shit is. And this is why they have you focusing on individuals like this Weinstein guy or whoever it is, because if they have a villain out there, one person that they can throw underneath the bus, then secretly they'll take care of that dude. They won't destroy him like they would Bill Cosby, or they have been, like constantly. Only on allegations. The Weinstein guy is already confirmed. He's already said, yes, that's how he is a piece of shit. And he said, oh, I was only a piece of shit because society itself welcomed piece of shit behavior like that. So yeah, I did it because that's what society was. But with Bill Cosby, he's only had allegations of this shit, and it's fact. You are a piece of shit. Now, I'm not saying, to defend Bill Cosby or anything. I'm just saying, like, that's another example of how different people are treated differently in that whole world. And just another example of the emptiness that's there. So this emptiness that is acted out with, women who have to prostitute their bodies to provide food and shelter for for their children is the same emptiness that people have when they have no meaning and purpose, when they subconsciously and consciously believe that they came from the Big Bang. They're nothing but an animalistic evolutionary happenstance from monkeys. They're just stardust. There's nothing there. There's no essence. You're dead, just like the dead eyes of a prostitute. You've been pimped. It's like pimp my car, or whatever that show is. It's like pimp my reality. Your reality has been pimped, and the only way that you're gonna get out of that space to stop prostituting yourself to somebody else's illusions is if you realize the stability that you are from the inside out. This is why something like Flat Earth is so dangerous, because it gives people, without any kind of, without trying, it gives people a connection with some kind of meaning and purpose. You don't need a book. You don't need whatever kind of proof here and there. You understand that in one way, things are not this way. In another way, since things are not like this, that means I am not like that. So what am I like? And then people start to piece together those gaps in their reality, that emptiness that has been in their lives there for their entire life. They start to fill themselves up with some kind of meaning and purpose. Their relationships become more deeper. They become, and before it becomes easier, before this healing and all this stuff happens, it gets harder. At first it's harder because you're cleaning out all the shit. You're getting rid of all of that garbage that you filled in the holes of your Swiss cheese soul, mind, and physical body. So it's going to be painful. It's kind of like working out those muscles after they've been, dormant for so long. You're going to be sore. And then eventually you're going to get through that soreness, and you're going to start to be able to condition your existence, because you're now adding muscle to your soul. You're adding muscle to your intellectual body, and in your physical body too. You start to become healthy. You eat healthier. You mean something now, whereas before you were just here. Wherever here is, it doesn't matter. It's a big ball hurling through space, spinning 1,000 miles an hour. Hopefully not getting hit by a damn asteroid, so we don't have to send Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck into a spaceship to go destroy it with a drill and a bomb. It's like, oh, thank God. That's your filler. Thank God for Barack Obama. Thank God for God. I mean, it's easy. It's like easy that the same thing that happens when people think they're going to heaven just because they go to church every Sunday, but they do the most fucked up shit every day, other than Sunday, and then they repent for their sins or whatever on Sunday, and everything's gonna be okay. Keep telling yourself that when you're sitting in wherever it is after you die, and then they ask you, so what's going on? What happened? What did you experience? What did you learn? And it's like, oh, well, I went to church every day. I was like, what does that mean to you? What is that? What is that? Yeah, okay, let's dedicate. Like, what is that? What your definition, not what somebody else told you to do. Like, if they were to get up there and say, this is a hologram, or here's Jesus right here, and they're like, oh, he's real, just go bow down to your God. And that's a test. It's like, okay, what if that's just a hologram that they've put up there? It's a test to your own power. Like, where's the relationship between you and not the middleman? When are you going to be able to challenge yourself to go straight to the source? Why do you need something in between? So it's just another example of emptiness being filled. So a lot of people fill their lives the same way people fill their lives with fast food or food in general, candy, sex, drugs, whatever it is. You're filling your reality. People do it the same thing with church. They do it with Bible verses. They do it with, priding themselves in being the most Jesus in the universe. They're just the most churchy or religious people you could ever imagine. And, a lot of people are doing that because they're running away from something. They have nothing else. Stuff like religion is just, you can see it as has another effect, just like addiction. It's just, I would say loosely it's healthier. It's healthier to do that. But when you really trace it back, there's an argument to say that ultimately it's not really, it's actually worse, because you're blocking yourself from going beyond the structure that somebody else has, or something else has told you to do. Your relationship should be like this, just like your dreams. The mainstream reality doesn't at all consider dreams an important part of your reality. And then you go into like the ancestors. Many of the ancestors, the dream realm is huge. You don't see something off about that? So that's pretty much what I wanted to share. I just want to kind of freestyle on the conversation that I had and have been having even on these channels. I'll link this in the playlist of my dreams playlist on this channel, because there's other videos that I've spoken on in reference to this topic and how it relates to the physical reality. But yeah, it really does, just kind of like with flat earth people ask like, why would they lie and all this other stuff. It's just it boils down to power and control. In your dream space, you're being challenged to inhabit your own power, or give your power away to the illusion of the world itself, or the demon in that nightmare, or whatever it is. Same thing's happening here. The easy route is to run away and wake up. The easy route is to run away and pop into another dream. But you're not growing. You're flatlining, literally. You're basing out your reality, and you're running away from your responsibility to expand. And that's one way that we learn. It's not the only way that we learn, but it's one way. Like people who are hard-headed, they just gotta learn shit the hard way. That's one way to learn. Another way to learn for certain people, or some people, like this is why kids are faced with nightmares all the time, because they're so open, they're automatically Swiss cheese, because they haven't filled their realities with anything yet. They just care about toys and flying dreams and playing tag and hide and seek, and the love of their mother and father, the love for their brothers and sisters and stuff like that. They're not concerned with the stuff of this reality. So they know that they're getting into that world because it surrounds them. So the world that's surrounding them, they know they're going to that space. They know they're not there yet. That's what makes them vulnerable. That's what makes them kind of open subconsciously. Because consciously, kids are the most focused. You can see when they're drawing, it might be the shittiest drawing in the world, but they are focused. They have that a lot of people, when they grow up, they don't have that anymore. So this is the extremes, like that happens, and you grow into a world that kind of accepts the emptiness as normal. at the expense of that which is natural. Because that which is natural is taboo. Literally, they're destroying the rainforests, killing the indigenous people who had relationships with nature. This is what the Western civilization is. Racism and white supremacy was just like a tactic used to expand that power. It's by no means the only part of that power grid. It's not boiled down to only white people and all this other thing. These are just parts of the system. People have a lot of problems with that when I address stuff like white supremacy and all this other stuff. It's not to say that's the only thing that exists. Say it's a big part of it. It's a big part of the mind control program. If you can confirm for yourself, and you can confirm this by looking at the doll test or the doll experiment that I've explained in previous videos. If you know for a fact that kids are hating themselves, hating their bodies, their natural body, not their personality, they hate their hair, they think they're dirty because their skin. Where do you think that came from? Where did that mentality come from? If you know that that's a reality, then you have to know that that affects not only children, that affects the entire world. It affects everybody, even people who don't have to deal with that. They create some kind of world on the other side of that. So this is another version of like the emptiness that happens when you don't dream, the emptiness that happens when you're constantly running away from your responsibilities, your power missions. So you're faced with a mission. Are you going to run from it, or are you going to do something with it? If you run from it, you're not going to grow. You're not going to go backwards, but you're not going to go forward. If you face it, you'll at least open the door to move forward. And you have now become something more. You have filled that space with more of yourself that you never had access to because you constantly ran away from it. So this is the mechanism that happens when people run away from even questioning the reality of the universe, is because it's very vulnerable. It's like a child that doesn't want to be, cast out of the cool crowd or something like that. Like, oh, well, everybody thinks like this, so I'm not even going to entertain that. I don't have the time. Smart people have already done this. So just stop trying to think for yourself and do this. Just be cool like us. It's like, all right, let's just kind of like be dead like us. Be zombies like us. Be conformists like us. Be enslaved like us. Be empty like us. It's fun to be empty, because then you can fill your life full of shit. And then you can wear it like a damn NASCAR uniform. That's a good example of what that emptiness looks like. A NASCAR driver's outfit. It's just filling the gaps with McDonald's, Coors Light, Tide, whatever the hell it is that they put on here. Bud Light. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much it. I said that already, but I'm already kind of tired from going into explaining this. There's something else that I'm missing that I was talking about in reference to the dreams, but I think I explained it enough about the relationship between dreams and flat earth and heliocentrism and the human experience as a whole. And whenever I do remember whatever it was that I forgot to mention in this video, I'll just make another follow-up video to this and go into it. So thank you for all the support. that people sharing their stories, sharing anything, whatever it is. I really do appreciate it. Comments and likes and shares, it really does help grow this channel, because like I said in previous videos, I don't have Facebook, so I kind of like rely on the subscribers to spread the videos if it seems interesting or whatever, and it's been working out. It's cool. It's a lot lighter not having to engage in Facebook. I mean, YouTube is another version of that, but at least it's like kind of not as censored as Facebook, but it's not, and it's more of a ability for me to be able to share this information, more freestyle and stuff like that. But they are definitely censoring. Like I said, they are taking views away, likes away, subscribers, all kinds of stuff. I've confirmed the views. If I've confirmed the views, I know that they're doing that with the likes, and they're doing it with the subscribers too. And if you know they're trending people's information, then you have to know that they're not trending people's information. If they're taking likes or views away, then you know that they're giving views to other people too. So it's a weird little world that's going on here. But like I said, with all the other stuff that I mentioned in this video, it boils down to power. It boils down to you filling your space with more of you in your relationship to the experience, nature, and all of the pieces of the reality that aren't a part of the synthetic universe. Before I close it out, another example of a filler is like these empty ass YouTube videos that they're just based on nothing. It's just dead shit, dead people, talking about nothing. It's like, oh, well, just laugh, just laugh, it's fine. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with laughing and comedy and all this other stuff, but more of a focus to share with people, like, where's philosophy at in mainstream? Where are the thinkers at? Even when people start talking about this kind of stuff, it's like, oh, don't get too deep. Like when you see some of these actors go on these late night talk shows, and then they start talking about how Hollywood is just garbage, it's just shit. People shouldn't be like putting those individuals on pedestals, and you should at least focus on yourself and realize like what's going on here from your own perspective, and like, oh, take it easy, come on, we need Hollywood and all this other stuff. Like it's ridiculous. You're not allowed to think outside of the drive-through at McDonald's. You can't even speak outside of the penny saver that comes with your Happy Meal. Like if you talk about something that's not in the newspaper, then you're not a part of the cool crowd. That goes down to power. Just like taking your dreams away is taking your focus away. So to close it all out, or to summarize, how I see it, like your subconscious reality is running 24/7. Like you're dreaming right now, even though you're not asleep. You can't see it because you've chosen to be awake in this conscious reality. So the conscious reality is actually built up. The foundation of this reality is the subconscious. You have, not to say it's better, I'm just saying that the balance is when you're awake, you're subjected to the laws of this universe. I think this is what I was missing. The laws, the various laws in various places or worlds. So you have the laws of the physical reality where your soul is in this body, apparently. You have like perspective laws. You have the differences between water, a liquid, a gas, a plasma, something dense, like different densities, different pressures. So you have all of these things that build up so-called laws within this universe or this world, the same thing happens in like Dreamworld. So you are more of, you have more abilities when you're not subjected to particular laws. When you bring the laws from the conscious world into the subconscious world, that's where you make the subconscious world unstable, and you will wake up. You will break your lucidity. You will break your ability to work within that world, because you're trying to conform the world rather than having a balance of what the world is presented to you as. So since you're the creator of that experience with your observation, your perspective, you ultimately have the deciding factor. So this is like going back to the nightmares. You run away, you wake up in a nightmare, you've decided to do that. When you start to try to make sense out of the dream world from a conscious perspective, you are bringing linear concepts into a nonlinear reality, and you will make it unstable and break out of that. So this is the dance between having the ability to go further in the dreams or not. If you put too much of your idea of yourself on the experience itself, you will max out on your own limitations. If you become aware of the dream and engage, or the experience itself, and engage, in a sense, being detached from that world, but still engaged and focused and anchored in that world, but a certain layer of detachment there at the same time, that's when you can work with the dream, and over time start to build up your muscles in that world. So this is exactly what I forgot to mention. The time and distance. So the more time that you spend in a dream, specifically in a lucid dream, the more of an ability you have to change the dream, or kind of work the world itself. So for example, like having the ability to fly, or like working your way up to flying, centering your focus, and then being able to fly, and then just like flying so much that you literally have to wake up because you're going too fast, or you're gone, whatever it is. But it's a gradual process. What I've experienced over so many different dreams is that what allows me to become more lucid in a dream, and to have more abilities in a dream, is to have an awareness. So the more aware you are, and the more kind of lax and chill you are in your waking space, the more relaxed and chill and aware you will be in your dream space. So this is the balance. This is the relationship between the dream world and the conscious world. And if you're looking for more meaning and purpose, you can see that you only need really one thing to give you a deeper layer of meaning and purpose. That could be one of them. It's one of mine. It's like, well, when people ask, like, why are we here? Why is the world the way it is? It's so garbage. It's so like destructive and this and that. Well, one thing is that this is a vibratory learning experience that, in relationship with dreams, if you become aware in these extremes, if you become balanced in this extreme kind of reality, it will affect your dreams, who you are and how you are in your dreams. That is a meaning and a purpose for this physical reality. It's just one. I mean, there's a whole bunch more, but it's one that's very real that I've noticed. And to close it all out again, excuse me, distance and time. So the more time you can hold that pretty much unstable subconscious dream space, the more of a potential you will have to go deeper into that dream. You can have more abilities in that dream. You're becoming more familiar with your surroundings. You can feel yourself more. You're piecing more of yourself together. You're having more focus. But that's the thing. The more focus you have, the more potential it has to become unstable. So if you are okay in not okay situations in your waking state, you will be okay in not okay situations in your dream space. That is your ability to go further and further into dreams and learn more, communicate more. I've actually, for people who haven't seen our other dream videos, the most crazy shit I've ever done was, well, not really. Yeah. I mean, there's probably more, but this is one of the craziest things in the dream space was I was actually in a dream explaining what dreams are and how to work dreams to people to people in the dreams. I was so lucid in that space. I was telling them, look, this is what's happening. This is how you can go from here to here. This is what you need to do. And this is what this whole dream is. Look at this. Look at that individual is this thing, and so on and so forth. Explaining the dream world to people in the dream. And ultimately, I'm explaining it to myself at the same time, but I just thought that was a trip. And in order to get to that space, like I said, I keep trying to get around to it. And this is just another way to become more lucid in the dreams is if you're in a dream and you start walking somewhere or you start running, you're crossing a distance, you're crossing time, and you're aware of your surroundings. You become more aware of your body. So if you're running, you're aware that your muscles aren't getting tired. You're aware that you're not really breathing hard. So you become more aware that this is a dream. And then you become more aware of like things that are moving around you as you are crossing distance over a certain amount of time. They don't move or look the same way as they would in a waking state. So that's you becoming more familiar with the dream. The more familiar you are with the dream, the more you'll be able to access parts of the dream. And distance and time helps this. So that's why I said the best way to hold on to that space is to not really hold on to many things in the waking state, like to be as cool and mellow as possible, be on an even keel so that you're not easily off-put, you're not easily taken out of your power, because if you're steady in who and what you are, then you'll have the ability to not only change your world, but change a lot of the worlds that are in and around your life. It's because it really is like everybody's teaching each other, everybody's healing each other. But when you have a whole bunch of broken people around just filling their bodies with prescription drugs and all kinds of other gap fillers, then you're creating a slave system, a slave world, and it's zombie land, literally. So that's pretty much it. I didn't want to forget the whole crossing distance and crossing time for dreamers, because I know some dreamers listen to these videos, and I know other people will do the same thing. As far as like realizing the space, the more you are aware, the more you'll be able to stabilize yourself in a non-stable reality. And this is how this goes hand in hand with the instability of a heliocentric universe. You're afraid of aliens. You're afraid of asteroids. You're afraid of everything. Everything is meant to destroy you. And everything's smarter than you. Like the whole alien agenda, the whole evolution agenda, and the Big Bang theory. you're basically the dumbest piece of shit in the universe if aliens create this technology. This is the premise to Ancient Aliens. They destroy your ancestral relationship with intellect, with the soul, with the spirit, with technology, all the ancient technology. It's destroyed because they say maybe ancient astronaut theorists profess that aliens came and did everything. They did it back then and they're doing it now. So you're just an empty piece of shit, and aliens will forever be smarter than you, and they might come and attack us. And in fact, there's bad aliens, and they're the ones in charge right now. So it's just another version of the Big Bang. It's just another version of emptiness. And another part of that is, before I keep thinking of things to add to the dream space as far as power and control and the universe itself. So the aliens being a part of that stuff, the extraterrestrial mentality, people priding themselves. Oh, my third eye opened, and I'm being connected with extraterrestrials and all this shit now. And you're just like, okay, there's another mission. But what I like to do is I boil it down to energy. From an observational perspective of, like, when somebody asks me about reptilians. So reptilians are just like, how I see it, and an example of what that is. You're really talking about, when people ask about the reptilians, they're really asking about like evil. When I see it, when I hear that, and the various manifestations of evil in reference to like the Illuminati and the Cabal and all this other shit. And quite possibly there could have been beings who constantly just manifested in the most evil ways, and maybe in a reptilian form, maybe in some kind of timeline in a giant form like the Nephilim and so on and so forth. In any kind of way, this is what has manifested into this reality. And it's another ability to, or another way, possibility for you to see yourself and where you fit. So you have like people who talk about the reptilians, they talk about the archons, they talk about all this other stuff. You're really talking about intelligence, you're talking about evil, light and dark. You're still talking about stuff within this universe. So how I explain it when somebody asks me about the reptilians, I'll say my response to that is, in a dream space, an evil entity or being can present itself to you in any kind of form. It can present itself to you in a human suit, an alien suit, a gray suit, a reptilian suit, in anything. It can present itself to you in the form of a family member. It can, whatever it is, it can do whatever it is, because it's not limited to the form that it takes. So when somebody's asking me about reptilians, I'm asking them in that same moment, what are you really asking me? What are we really talking about? And how I see it, we're talking about evil, being able to face your evil or run away from it. The forms that it takes is not necessary, but in all reality, when you're in a dream space, does the form a demon take really matter to you when you know with every essence, without language? Sometimes you're spoken to, in dreams you can be faced with a demon or something like that, and it speaks telepathically. I've had this before where an evil sort of entity presented itself to me in a tall, kind of gray or white alien form, like 12 or between 12 and 14 feet tall. and just was trying to inflict fear into my beingness telepathically. And then I started to become more lucid in the dream and was becoming aware of, oh, it's not even saying anything, but it is trying to make me feel a certain way through my emotional body, which is the same way that politics and the system itself controls you, or controls the experiencers with triggering the emotional body, triggering the fear. We have to go to war. We have to fight the war on terrorism. We have to expand capitalism and democracy and so on and so forth. Triggering you and manipulating your emotional body to give your power away. So when people ask me in like about reptilians and stuff like that, and I always go into like, what are you really talking about? Like, how then this is another way that dreams can help empower yourself. They empower your perspectives, because when you have experiences in dreams, you're still yourself, in a sense that when you wake up, you might even take on a different body in a dream, but you yourself, the experiencer, will forever be the experiencer, no matter what experience you're in. So this is just that's another example of like the illusion of death and the illusion of life, really. Like, the whole thing is, you will forever be experiencing something. You're here, and the complexities excuse me, if you have any kind of an understanding and overstanding of having a meaning and a purpose from a creative source, then you're not just going to be thrown away. It's not going to just be nothing. It's just like, oh, whatever. Spent so much time on complexifying the shit out of this being. It just doesn't matter. You're empty. It's nothing. You have no soul. Just go away. Emptiness forever. No, you're going to have an experience, just like in dreams. This is another thing that dreams do to empower people, is to help people realize the expansiveness, the unlimited potential of the soul essence that you are, which allows you to not have any fear of death or fear of anything, really, because the experience is forever going on. And when people are afraid of death, you're afraid of life. You're living your life in fear, so you're not really alive. But when you're in a dream space, you have the ability to... There's a lot of times in dreams that you actually die. Like I said in earlier in this video, I've had dreams where I'm just like, when I was a kid, the reoccurring dream is that I was just falling off a building all the time. And in those elevator dreams, going up the elevator to the top of the building and then falling off of the building. Like, I've had these dreams constantly. The reoccurring part of that dream now is just like the elevator scene and choosing between different floors. I've had that before too. And what's on each floor. You don't know exactly what's on the floor, but you feel like a sense of responsibility. This is, on this level, or this floor, the 6th floor or the 9th floor, you have this responsibility. And on the 6th floor, you have this responsibility. Before you can maximize this floor, you have to complete the work that needs to be done on this floor. That's what I mean by responsibility. So if you choose to go on to those other ones without having done the other work, it's going to make that other world more vulnerable and less, what's the word? Not impactful, but less... It'll make it more unstable because you haven't equipped yourself with the work that should have been done from the other floors or the other worlds. That's how I interpret. For people who also have reoccurring dreams about the elevator and going through different dimensions or whatever you want to word it, I just boil it down to experiences, because I know this is a reoccurring theme for a lot of people. It's not just me. I've heard this a lot. The dreams, the elevator, the hotel, that whole meaning. Even with Prince's song, Don't Let the Elevator Bring Us Down. Oh, no, let's go crazy, like that whole song. And then you take it a step even further, like into a sense of him dying in the elevator. And, you know, you can go into the conspiracies about that wherever you like, but when you see all this stuff and it being anchored in some kind of reality, you really start to ask some questions about some things. You're like, oh shit, this is making a lot of sense that I never really thought about before. And all of this, like pretty much all the information that I shared in this video, comes from having this relationship with my dreams as a child and as an adult. I stopped dreaming or remembering my dreams for a while, like when I was in the Army. I had like spurts here and there, but I wasn't like a dreamer like I am today or like I was when I was a kid. But having been sharing this information with people, I've realized that it's a very big part of our reality. Excuse me. A very big part of our reality. And it's very beneficial for us to re-engage with that space and start to see more of ourselves. Start to challenge ourselves with more experiences. So if you are faced with challenges in your waking space and you learn from it, you grow, you become a better person. Look at the opportunity that you have to expand and become a better person or a more vibrant person energetically and actually personally if you were to re-engage with your dreams. Now realize how that being taboo or something like smirked at in the mainstream reality, see how that affects people. It's huge. And it relates directly to being locked into a synthetic universe like heliocentrism. So I think I pretty much made my point on how dreams relate to the illusions that are cast upon us by like stuff like heliocentrism, and by reconnecting with something like your dreams has the same kind of effect on you that reconnecting with your dreams, the flat Earth or the non-heliocentric Earth would have. So people who are solely coming at this from a flat Earth perspective, you can see what I'm saying in reference to dreams themselves. How much have you changed? How much have you learned? How much of those gaps in your reality have been filled by just at least being open to a universe that is not an illusion cast down by illusionists, but at least just being open to having some kind of meaning and purpose. It's huge. So doing this with your dreams is just as big, if not bigger, because it helps your conscious reality. Not only helps you reconnect with your subconscious reality, but it helps you heal in the conscious reality. It's like a double positive. It's coming up twice. So yeah, keep dreaming. For people who made it this far in the video, if you have any, I'm curious, because in the last video I talked about dreams. I asked people to leave some stuff in the comment section. I'm curious to people who do dream what their reoccurring dreams may be. Do you have elevator dreams? Do you have like reoccurring themes for me are like parties, school. In the order, it's school. School is a big one. I'm always in some kind of school. whether it's high school or just some kind of school environment. Buildings like elevator lobbies, like hotel lobbies, specifically like hotel lobbies and elevators. Those are two huge ones. And obviously I have military dreams because I was in the military, so I have like this thing about going back in. Recently, that's been a reoccurring thing recently. What else? As a kid, I used to have those falling dreams, specifically off a building. And flying dreams, obviously. There's some other stuff too, but those are kind of like the main ones. So, and stuff like distance too, like I was saying, crossing distance. If you're running, I could start flying from running because crossing that distance makes me become more lucid. I can feel myself more becoming lighter and focus my energy easier because you're crossing distance and time and you're moving, so you're more cognizant of your energetic body in the dream. So when you're more cognizant of it, you can focus more of that energy. So yeah, those are just kind of like reoccurring things that are themes of dreams. If people have, I'm curious if people have had these reoccurring themes. If you're open to it, share it in the comment section. I'm sure a lot of other people will be interested in that stuff too. I'm like when I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, I was just like super excited to talk to another dreamer, or somebody who was at least open to dream information, or open to like being able to receive that information, because most days people they just kind of shut down. But it really is nice to talk to another a dreamer. So I know if people are in the comment section, leave some cool dream stuff out there, and use this to kind of network with other dreamers and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for sharing. If you do, or even if you don't, if you just stuck around to this, thank you for supporting. Yeah, keep dreaming. It's really important, and in many ways that we haven't even understood. I'm learning something new every day. Every day I wake up, there's something new from the dream, or something I can interpret, or kind of see where I am in many different ways. So yeah, keep dreaming, and keep sharing your dreams. Encourage, if you have your children, please encourage your children to dream and remember their dreams. Listen to their dreams. Ask them what their dreams were, because then they'll be able to make that connection and not lose it. And then when they have an authority figure, like a parent telling them, not forcefully, but just telling them, hey, this is important. What are you doing? I know you have dreams. And you have nightmares. The more comfortable they come with their dreams, the easier it will be to process and clear their nightmares. So it's nice to go running into the room when your kid is screaming at the top of their lungs because they've had a nightmare. But that's the medicine. Like, oh, it's okay, baby. Like, it's all right. Like, it's okay. It was just a dream. It's just a dream. Just go back to sleep. That's a medicine. A diet for dreams would be to help that child become a dreamer, like a deep dreamer, so that when they are faced with like a nightmare or a demon or something like that, they don't have to run away and wake up. They can process that dream and face that dream and that experience, and then move on. It becomes a diet. It becomes the gym instead of, diet pills or prescription drugs. It's a different kind of reality. But I would seriously encourage parents that have children to to do that. It is very, very important, and it will be very important. It will change their lives even when they grow up. Just imagine like a child who hasn't been broken out of their dream self. You hold on to your imagination. You hold on to a lot of who and what you are, because that's like the purest form of who and what you are is in that subconscious space in many ways, because you don't have the distraction of the idea of what you are in the conscious linear reality. So that's another example of the importance of dreams for children growing up to become adults, and why the mainstream society doesn't give a shit about them, because they're breaking down people's imagination. You break down people's imagination, you break down their art, you break down their ability to revolt, you break down their ability to empower themselves, and instead of facing their demons, they will continually run away. They will continually rationalize their reality and either black out their dreams completely or constantly run away from the nightmare. One of the two. And that's how we've been affected with such illusions as heliocentrism, war brings peace, this sick and diseased ass Western so-called civilization, and even going up into mainstream religions and so on and so forth. It's very destructive in many ways. But yeah, please keep dreaming and help your kids dream. So I'll close this video. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.